Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Simon, and I'm going to be the instructor for the fall counseling course this semester. There have been quite a few changes and updates that I have made to what the Blackboard portal looks like, along with your course syllabus. So, what I want to do right now is I want to take some time to go over that so that you can see the changes that were made. If you've already had a chance to read my announcements, one of the things that you will be aware of is that although I've made changes to the course syllabus, there are things to help provide clarity. And some corrections in some of the point systems were different in different places. So there are no additional assignments that have been added, but there are some changes to how it's structured. So one of the first things I want to go over is just Blackboard and how you're going to see things set up. So right now I'm in the student view. I use the announcements area quite often in my online classes. So this is some place that you're going to want to make sure that you're checking. And you should get an email to alert you when there is an announcement. So I posted one tonight to let you know that I am finally here. So I want to thank each of you for your patience as we've been working to try and get everything set up and get me access to Blackboard and email and all of those things. And as of today was my very first day being able to log in to Blackboard. So there will be some additional things that I'll be doing as we go along throughout the course. But since today was my first day and I know that you guys have already been working towards things, I wanted to try and get things updated as quickly as I could for you so you could see the structure of the course. So you'll see that there is an announcement here, and that's one of the ways that I communicate with you. If we go here to the syllabus, you'll see that I have included an updated course syllabus. The initial syllabus is still here, just so that you can refer back to it, just so you'll know that I added clarity, but I did not change assignments. There are some things where I may have made it a little less than, or provided clearer directions as to what exactly I would be looking for. But you do not need this. This is just if you just want to take a glance at it, just so you can compare, and then after you do that comparison and you're fine with it, please throw that one away because the dates and those things are not going to be valid for you any longer. So you will see an updated course syllabus here. I put a date here just because it sometimes it happens as you guys are going through, and maybe even as I go through this video tutorial today, that I'll catch an error and I may have to make an update to something that may be a grammatical, or points may be have shifted as I've tried to clear everything up. But this is the most updated course syllabus for this course, and it says the date. So 10/16 is when I updated that. So you'll see this here, and as I said in the announcement, it's been updated, including my licensure. I think on the initial one it had CRC. I'm not a rehabilitation counselor. I'm a certified school counselor and LPC. So just a little bit of information about me. I've been a certified school counselor since 2006. And I've worked in high schools here in the Houston area in a couple of different districts and serving in different roles, including lead counselor. I've also been an adjunct professor at Sam Houston State, now currently at Texas Southern, and I've hourly like several other places as well. So I've been a counselor educator since about 2014 and an LPC since 2018. So that's the newest of those licensures, but I'm a fully licensed LPC as well. All right, so forgive me as I scroll through here, so you may want to look away for a second. One of the things that I did update, the initial course syllabus had addictions counseling. This is a school counseling course, and some of you may need this at some point as you're trying to show what you learned. So I wanted to make sure that that is updated so you have that for your records. This is a school counseling course, and those standards have been updated on the course syllabi. All right, so here highlighted, this is where you'll see where some of those changes are. The discussions, as I said, I did not add, I took away. So for example, this week, and well, you guys, on the initial syllabus, it had that you were doing 10 discussions, but you have not had discussion board posts here lately. So we'll end up being able to complete seven of those by the end of the semester. I also changed the point allotment to initially it was 25 and I increased it to 30 so that we'd have some more points there to give us a total at the end. Journal articles, I gave a clarifying title to this called an annotated bibliography. That'll help you if you're trying to do any research trying to figure out what is generally expected. So you're going to do article critiques, and I'll get into the details in that, and I'll just show you how I updated it. But that is the same assignment. It just has some clarity on what exactly that is. The purpose of those journal articles is to be part of what is called an annotated bibliography. On that one, I also did increase the points. It was initially 50. I increased that to 100. For the quizzes, you were initially to have 10. We won't have time to get 10 complete, so there'll be 7 of those. You have an exam that was on your initial syllabus that was scheduled for this week. Right now, I don't think it's appropriate for me to test you over anything because I don't know what all you have been covering. So we're going to change that. And instead of that being an exam, we're going to do what's called an Ask a Position Statement. And I'll explain what that looks like. And you'll have until November 1st for that to be complete. So you won't have the exam that's scheduled for October 18th. That will not happen this week. But you will have your exam 2. That will be the last week of the course. I did make updates down here to the grading scale as well, since there are fewer assignments that are going to be calculated into the grades. I made some adjustments to what that looks like. So instead of it being about 800 points, it's 730. And then I've put down here too so you can see where those points line up for grades if you're trying to see where you stand percentile or letter grade. So this doesn't change. There are no late assignments that will be accepted. I've given you the dates and I'll explain what that looks like. If anything comes up, if anything happens and you have an emergency, please make sure that you contact me prior to the due date. If there's something that is occurring and I need to be aware of, if any type of adjustments need to be made, I need to know that before the due date of the assignment. So each week you'll have discussion board assignments with at least 2 discussion board responses due, and some type of content or synthesis assignment, which could be a quiz, and we'll go over what that looks like. I've provided outlines and adjustments to some of these course syllabi for you as well to give you more clarity. Okay. All right, so this is where you'll see some of those things that look a little different. So we are currently here in week 8. So I did not make any adjustments to anything further up. So here at week 8, this is where initially it was the exam that was posted. But instead of that, we're not going to do the exam. But we are going to do what's called a journal entry. And that'll be due on October 19th. And I'll show you what that looks like. This is what you're doing right now, is watching the syllabus video. I've adjusted what it says here for the readings. Before it said read section 1, section 2. So now that we are in this, some of you may have already read these sections, but this is what we're going to be focusing on. So your quizzes and discussion boards are going to come from these different sections during those weeks of the course. So in week 9, so this week, there's going to be a journal entry and we won't be covering any content. And I'll show you what that journal entry looks like for you. But in week 9, we're going to be covering the introduction section of the Texas Model Guide. In week 10, it'll be section 1 of the Texas Model Guide. So that's what your quizzes will be over, your discussion board, and your assignments will be related to that. So that should help give you some guidance on what the rest of the semester is going to entail. All right, so then on October 11th, like I said, instead of the exam, you're going to do the Ask a Position Statement, and we'll go over what that looks like. I did change the date for your journal article assignment. So like I said, this is the same assignment that you had before. I gave some clarity with the title of it, and that should be called an annotated bibliography, which is the journal article assignment, and that is due 11/15. I've moved the research paper down as well because the journal articles should help you to complete the research paper. So I've moved that down to 12/1, and then your final exam stays the same. All right, forgive me as I scroll through. All right, this is what I stated to you earlier for the discussion questions grading criteria. It's going to be on a 30-point scale. Your initial post is going to be worth 14, a maximum of 14 points, and each of your peer responses will be worth 8. So you will have 2 peer responses that are due each week along with your initial post. The information here for the guidelines, that remains the same on how your post should look. Here, I've highlighted again to provide some clarity on when things are due. So as before, your initial posting is due before midnight on Thursday. And then your peer response is due on Sunday. I think it initially said Friday. But to give you enough time to be able to respond, you can still turn it in on Friday. That's fine. But the last day that you can submit your peer response will be Sunday. You also need to respond to at least 2 peers from the initial post for each of the discussion questions. All right, the rest of this remains the same. There's no extra credit. We want to make sure that we maintain confidentiality, make sure that we are following the academic honesty policy, sexual harassment policy, ADA, all of those things remain the same. You have already completed your introduction assignment and your interview, and so I'll be looking over those to grade those for any that has not already been graded. All right, so here's where we come to the ASCA statements. Remember, this is in lieu of exam 1. So you will not be doing exam 1. In lieu of that, you're going to do what's called a public service announcement. So in this, professional school counselors adhere to certain ethical standards. And so we're going to be looking at the American School Counseling Association, their standards. And they have what they call position statements. So inside of Blackboard, I have uploaded those position statements, and I've also given you a link to those. So I'm going to show you an example of that inside of Blackboard once we go there. I've already uploaded it, an example inside of the discussion board post to show you what that can look like. This, once again, is that annotated bibliography, the journal articles. Initially, this said 7 journal articles, and I did decrease that to 5, but I added some clarity on what that looks like. I also changed the word count. It said 400, and so I decreased that to 150. So you're going to select a single topic, something that you want to cover that's related to school counseling. So let's say you decide to cover anti-bullying, because I actually have an example of an annotated bibliography that addresses that. So within Blackboard, you'll find that example, and in that they are covering anti-bullying. And the student has found 5 peer-reviewed journal articles, and for each one of those journal articles, they provided a 150-word summary of that article. In addition to the summary, you also need to include a 3 to 5 sentence paragraph indicating your opinion of the article and how it relates to your selected topic. So if you've selected anti-bullying, then you need to explain how that article relates to that. You will also need to have an APA cover page, and at the end of your paper, you must cite your references in APA format. Points will be taken off if not in APA format, and I've also provided examples for what that looks like. The 5 journal articles should reveal counseling interventions that address the single concern and support school counseling. So the research paper, that information stays the same. Exam 2, let's see, chapter quizzes. Chapter quizzes, the quizzes will cover the assigned readings from the Texas model for comprehensive school counseling programs and any additional articles or resources that I provide. They'll also be fair game for questions for the quiz. Those quizzes will be due by Sunday at 11:59. The quiz will cut you off at midnight. Each quiz is worth 10 points. So you'll see that everything else is the same. Where the differences are the things that have been highlighted. So rubrics, you've already done the introduction assignment, so I did not make any adjustments to that rubric. For the discussion board, this is where I made adjustments because remember I said I increased it to 30 points. It was initially 25. And this is where you'll see the breakdown. So you have your initial post. Remember the maximum that you can get for initial posts are 14 points, and each peer response is worth a total of 8. And so this breaks it down to let you know how those points will be allotted. All right, for the annotated bibliography, the journal articles, I've included a rubric. There was not one in there initially, so this will help you understand how points are going to be awarded for your journal articles. The journal articles assignment is, I remember I increased it to 100 points. And you'll see for the quantity of sources, and I have it broken down here. Remember that it is now 5. Oh, I think I have this backwards. So this is one of those ones I need to, it's backwards. So it's 10 here, 8 here, 6. So I'll update that because those are backwards. Because the maximum points you'll get here is 20. And then here for reliability of resources is 20. So all of this is correct. So this one here is backwards, so I need to fix that. The journal articles need to be relevant to the school counseling topic that you have selected. And this lets you know, once again, the breakdown of how those points. So if they are all related, that's 20. And if you only have one, then you lose points. And so the most that you can get is 10 points. All right. So take a look at that. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, I will make the adjustment. So by the time you go in and see a syllabus, this should already be corrected. This one will be corrected. All right, so the ask a position statements, which is in lieu of exam 1, it's worth 100 points. There's content, and so that's up to 40 points. There's a visual product that you're going to have to create that is worth up to 40 points. Mechanics, worth up to 20. This was already there, the rubric for the counselor interview and research paper. That information is there. There was another rubric for the research paper that did not align, so I deleted that one, but this one was already here. So this one is there. The only adjustment I just made is I let you know the point allotment. And that's the course syllabus.